Hello everyone and welcome back to Tom's Tomb of Horror. So having just done a ranking of the Friday the 13th films on this channel, I'm now tackling the A Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And then, of course, we will follow up with a ranking of the Halloween franchises. So we're starting big with some pretty big horror franchises on this channel. And of course, this will be done in the usual format, from my least favourite film to my favourite film in the franchise. This is always very much a subjective thing, so do drop your own rankings and lists in the comments. I'd be interested to hear your takes on this franchise. And I have to say, this is actually one of my favourite horror franchises, A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I think most of these films are actually pretty good. I think there's only like a handful of duds here. I mean, there were only 8 films, which isn't as many as Halloween and a Friday the 13th. But I think generally this has actually quite a strong set of films. Like, I find these easier to watch maybe than some of the other horror franchises out there that have loads of films within them. So yeah, and Freddy Krueger, great villain, of course, played by Robert Englund brilliantly in lots of these films, and always enjoy his kind of mix of evil and humour that he brings to that character, and does balances those two things, I think, so deftly in the way he portrays Freddy. So let's crack on with this list from my least favourite to my favourite, and my least favourite film coming in at number 8 is A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Child. And I feel like this is the 5th film in the franchise, and for me, it feels a bit like they were making this one up as they go along with the story. I mean, it is very confusing. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And I suppose depending on how much weight you put on that might determine how much you enjoy this one. And for me, I kind of also found it very silly and over the top. I feel like by film number 4, they were going more and more down the fun road with A Nightmare on Elm Street, going more sort of on the light-hearted, tongue-in-cheek side of just going sometimes actually for out-and-out silliness. And this film was sort of well into that, well down that road. And but for me, I just felt it didn't make a lot of sense. I didn't feel like it was very well executed, but there were still some creative moments in here. I think it's the animated kill with Mark I quite liked, which was pretty good. But and actually I quite liked Alice and Dan as a couple, but that doesn't quite save this film from going at the bottom for me. My least favourite film is actually A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. Coming in next, number 7 is the remake from 2010, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and this. I feel like this film ultimately failed on 2 fronts. Like, either they were going to try and make this a worthy tribute to the original, which it doesn't manage for me, or they were going to try and do something original. A little bit like, Friday the 13th. I say original, but Friday the 13th, 2009, I felt like was a really good tribute. Or, with this film, I feel like they should have at least made an effort to do something original with the franchise. I feel like it didn't really do that either. The one positive I will say is I did actually quite like Jackie Earle Haley's really dark take on Freddy, which I thought was very, very creepy and sinister, and I thought his performance was pretty good. But a lot of the other characters very wooden. Not a hell of a lot going for this film otherwise for me, and it just didn't have the substance of, say, the original film. And yeah, for me, this one ultimately was not a good remake, and that's why it comes in at number 7 on my list. Next up at number 6, we are talking about Friday the 13th, Part 6, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Friday the 13th, Part 6, sorry. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 6, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. And, this film for me, again, like I said with Part 5, it was just the franchise going down the ultra silly routes and just going for more fun than horror. And there are a couple of really drawn out kill scenes in this film where I just feel like, it's just going so over the top that it's getting beyond even being kind of funny or as I say, as scary. It's just not really achieving a whole lot for me. Very goofy film. I did enjoy, again, it's one of these films where I enjoyed the creativity of Spencer's kill, where he's killed in the video game. I thought that was creative. But again, yeah, there's not much here that I think is particularly great. And these kind of bottom 3 films on my list I feel like it's quite a big gulf between this one and the next film on my list, where I think we get into decent territory with this franchise. So these 3 films at the bottom are the ones I generally don't choose to watch unless I'm, maybe doing a marathon or doing an exercise like this and ranking these films. So yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 6, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare comes in at number 6. Now coming in at number 5, we've got Part 2, and this was, of course, Freddy's Revenge, and from 1985, and I actually do quite like this film. I think it's very bold. And as many have said, many times, this film I think was quite bold in having a sort of gay subtext and a lead character wrestling with his own sexuality. And I think although all of that could have been done a bit better, I still think it was forward thinking for its time in the 80s. I will say that. And I also, personally, what I really liked about this film was the relationship between Lisa and Jesse. Even though she says Jesse about 1 million times in this film, does Lisa, I quite liked their dynamic. I liked the way she really rooted for Jesse. She really looked out for him when kind of most other people weren't. She was really looking out for him. She understood him. And I really liked that sort of that relationship that they had, and found it very interesting to watch. So overall, I thought this film had a huge amount of potential. And if any of these films are going to be remade and redone well in the modern day, I feel like this one could be done much better. It's why it comes out at number 5, because I don't love this film, but nor do I dislike. I can watch this one. I can choose to watch this and still quite enjoy it. And, Freddy is awesome in this film as well, I think. And, that also helps, put it up a little bit higher in my rankings than it otherwise would have been. So yeah, number 5 is A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Coming in at number 4, we've got Wes Craven's A New Nightmare, which I thought was pretty good on the whole. This is obviously like a forerunner to the Scream franchise in the way it has the meta element, sort of the story within the story. And one of my favourite scenes in this is where Wes Craven is talking to Nancy Thompson, Heather Langenkamp, and I love that interaction and the way that he's explaining what's happening as they're on set, and how Freddy is effectively made to come to life for Heather Langenkamp. And I really enjoyed that little scene. I thought it was really quite nuanced and quite clever at the same time. Yes, there's a lot of callbacks here to the original, but I think there's just enough here that was new and interesting for me to enjoy this one quite a bit. So coming in at number 4 is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Next up at number 3, perhaps a hot take, maybe a controversial choice for number 3 this high up, but I've always kind of liked this film. It's a little bit of a guilty pleasure. That is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. And the thing that wins me over with this film, I just love the vibe. I love the tone of the film, the colours. I love the creativity. Despite its flaws, and even despite the first half an hour where it kills off our much-loved characters from the third film from Dream Warriors, I still really dig this one. Debbie's kill is one of the most gruesome and creative I think we've ever seen in slashers over the years. Her turning into a cockroach could not have been portrayed better for me by any CGI. I think the practical effects in this film are absolutely brilliant. And that is a really disturbing, uncomfortable, yet somewhat clever and fun kill, the way it's done. And I really enjoyed that sort of, that particular kill. Just thought it was a very, very creative one. And overall, I like this one. I like the music. I just like the whole vibe of the fourth part. I just wish maybe the first half an hour had been done slightly differently. And also that Patricia Arquette could have reprised her role from the third film. But that aside, I kind of love this film, which is why it's high up at number 3. Next up at number 2, a fan favourite. It's got to be here somewhere in the top 2 for me, or the top 3 at the very least, and that's A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. So many great characters in this film, so many great characters. I mean, Kincaid, Joey, obviously Kristen, Nancy coming back was a huge boost to this film, having Heather Langenkamp return for the third film. And the idea of, having a group of people that can maybe take on Freddy in their dreams. And I love this one. And Taryn as well was another character I didn't say that I really liked from this film. It's very creative. I think this one has the best kills in the whole franchise for me. And, the story I also do quite enjoy. I think there's just great sets, great ideas, and yeah, this one had to be high up. Again, great music in part 3 too. So that leaves just my number 1 left, my number 1 favourite, and in this case, unlike with Friday the 13th, the best film for me, and perhaps what will always be the best film, is the original A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. Absolutely fantastic horror film, iconic to me in so many ways. And I think this has absolutely, still has some great kills in it. And as I said in my short video not long ago on this channel about Tina's kill, which still haunts me now, just how terrifying it is to watch poor Tina being destroyed by Freddy in front of her boyfriend, which, you sort of see from his point of view as she is struggling and being tormented and ripped to shreds in the bedroom scene, and it is absolutely terrifying just to sort of see that unfold as like a witness to what's going on as she's still in the nightmare with Freddy. And this is just well directed. It's the practical stuff is great here. I'm a big fan of the couple of Heather Langenkamp as Nancy and Johnny Depp as Glenn. I kind of love to see them maybe come back together as a couple somehow. I don't know about anyone else. I loved Glenn and Nancy as a couple. Maybe a prequel, if I don't know, maybe that's too much of a stretch with this franchise. But there are so many sequels and prequels and retcons with so many other franchises. They might decide to do something like that. I'd love to see them as a couple come back somehow, but probably not going to happen. But yeah, its original is awesome, and it probably, I can't remember actually though if I put it, I might have put, did I put Dream Warriors as my number 1 last time I did a ranking? Because I did a ranking on my other channel, The Green Man, some time ago, but I can't remember. But this time, having rewatched all these films again, I think the original wins it. It's just too good. It's just too good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Do drop a like and a sub if you're new to Tom's Tomb of Horror. We're building up from, just getting started here. And obviously next up, as I say, will be the Halloween franchise. And then there will be more film rankings as we go through the weeks and months on this channel. So thanks all for watching, and bye for now.